Everyone. So I'm your host, Corey Lilly. Welcome to another outdoor webinar series with Brad and Lee Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative. We empower our state's community partners through advancing the state's outdoor economy. We have two departments, and the department that I'm working in is the Outdoor Community and Economic Development. We have many different programs across the state that we deploy. We have our trails training education. We have our webinar series and a few of the webinars that are coming up. We have about twice a month. So February 3rd, February 26th, March 3rd, March 26th, and April 9th. We have a few different topics. We hope to see you on the future ones. Thank you for joining this one. We have our outdoor community meetups, like I mentioned earlier, the Eastern Panhandle. We have February 10th, March 12th in the New River Gorge at Elevation Sports in Beckley, West Virginia is where we'll have that one. And we have a few more that'll be deployed across West Virginia. So please keep an eye out for some of those. I'm super excited and thrilled to invite everyone to the inaugural West Virginia Outdoor Economy Summit, February 17th and 18th. In Charleston, the main core part of the conference is going to be happening on the 18th. The 17th is a welcome reception. And then on the 19th, we'll be joining our partners at the Nature Conservancy at the Capitol, where we'll be setting up to interact in face with our elected officials and let them know about the outdoor economy. So super excited to have everyone join that. If you want to know more about what's happening at the Smith OEDC, please sign up to our Send newsletter. This is the best source of information for updates coming out of the OEDC. However, we do have our social channels and at each one of our programs and events that we launch, we share information. So this is the best source of information. But I'm super excited and thrilled today to have our partners at Partner Community Capital give a webinar for us. So please welcome Partner Community Capital for a 45-minute webinar conversation on how small businesses, communities, and entrepreneurs can access hands-on support to start and grow, strengthen their work in West Virginia's outdoor economy. For those of you all on the call today that are watching, please, if you don't mind, drop your name and organization in the chat. That'll help Kristen and Louie and the team at Partner Community Capital know who they're chatting with today. And if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat as we kind of go along. But we'll take most of those questions at the end of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen and Louie and team. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Corey. You make us sound much more exciting than maybe this presentation is. No, I hope we keep you all awake today. Love to see where you're from and who you are and who's joining. That always helps us kind of understand our audience here. So welcome, everyone. I just want to first introduce myself and the team that we have here today from Partner Community Capital. So I'm Kristen Beveridge. I'm one of our business support services managers. We also have, and I'm just going to shout you out, so just give a little wave, or if you can, some sort of reaction. We have Liberty Newberry, also in business support services. We have Louis Argento, also in business support services. You'll see that's a theme. We have Elizabeth Wilkes, who is also business support services, and Jessica Ice. We also have Marty Jefferson, who I'm going to give an extra shout out to, who works on the initiative with us. So shout out to Marty for joining the call today. I didn't know she was going to be here, but I am glad to see her. If you have anything that you want to put in the chat during the presentation, we have an awesome team of people who can respond to you, but we are going to try to keep most of the questions towards the end of the presentation. So let me just share my screen. Bring that up, very dramatic here. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Just a thumbs up from someone.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great.
Unlike me.
So just a few housekeeping items. You probably are all very used to webinars, but I will go through it anyways. If you have a question that cannot wait to the end, please just raise your hand or put it in the chat. Please stay muted unless we open the floor for some kind of question and answer portion. If you are, looking at this saying, hey, this is a lot of information, where can I reference this? I believe Corey is going to be able to send out the presentation to everyone after this is over, along with any relevant resources. It's also going to be on the OEDC YouTube channel. Another thing I just want to mention, like many of you, I am operating in rural West Virginia. If I were to lose connection at any point, my esteemed colleague Louis will take over and start presenting from his screen, but it is viciously windy here today in Pocahontas County, so just making that caveat before we get started. Again, thank you so much for joining. Let's get into it. Partner Community Capital and our business support services. We are unveiling it to you today, so today's an exciting day. So first of all, I just want to clear up who PCAP is. Many of you may not have heard of PCAP. Many of you have not maybe heard of PCAP or understand, what we offer, or we've had several rebrands as well, so you may have known us under different names. So I'll give you a little overview of what PCAP is. PCAP was founded in 2000 as the Natural Capital Investment Fund under the Conservation Fund, which many of you may know PCAP as. In 2001, we were certified as a community development financial institution, becoming the first and still only statewide small business lender in West Virginia. In 2007, we expanded to North Carolina and Virginia, and over the past decade, we have expanded our services to a 9-state region spanning most of Appalachia. So you may have seen us out and about if you work regionally. In 2021, we renamed from the Natural Capital Investment Fund to Partner Community Capital, which we think reflects our deep commitment to working with borrowers, other lenders, funders, investors, community leaders, and helping communities develop healthy, resilient local economies. And in 2002, we made our independent separation from the Conservation Fund and became our own independent 501c3 organization. So that's a little bit of the background of PCAP, and we'll get a little bit more specific, but let's see what we're going to be talking about today. So the headliner, of course, are these PCAP Business Support Services, which is the initiative that we are all working under today. We're going to talk about the areas of assistance, what we can help you with, what you might qualify for. Louis is going to be outlining all things loans and capital. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely stick around for that. We're going to be talking about any of our upcoming events. And then we'll have kind of a wrap up and Q&A section, trying to leave ample time for any detailed questions you have. We don't have a giant group here today, which is actually to your advantage. So if you have detailed questions that you're like, hey, what about this, this, and this? That will be a great time to ask those questions, so stick around. So first of all, what is PCAP Business Services? PCAP Support Services. And again, this is a new program, so I'm still, getting used to saying that over and over again. So historically, our business services at PCAP came through several individual programs that you have probably worked with in the past. So the West Virginia Recreational Economies Initiative, which is what I was previously in charge of, the Value Chain Cluster Initiative, which is kind of our local food and farm initiative, the Women's Business Center, our Clean Energy Initiative, and also microlending. All of these initiatives have all been historically working under PCAP. We've all been working together as a team. But as of 2026, we have streamlined our work into one cohesive business services program, making it easier and more intuitive for all of our partners to get involved and be connected. Our model is now designed around simplicity and accessibility. So instead of having to navigate several different programs saying, oh, maybe I should be in the REI program, or maybe I should be with the Women's Business Center, you have one single point of entry for all your business support needs now. So if you're not sure, you can just contact Business Support Services, and you're still getting all of the great resources and assistance and technical assistance, which we'll get into, that we always had previously available, but it's all under one roof. So it's going to be more of a team-based approach. Our advisors can collaborate behind the scenes and make better decisions about customized support for each business or organization, and find a clear pathway to getting you the assistance that you need, and hopefully being more flexible with what we can offer moving forward. So I guess that gets into what kind of support can we actually provide if you've not previously been involved with PCAP or any of our initiatives. So our areas of support under PCAP Business Services include business advising, specialized business consulting, which I know some of you have received, and workshops and trainings just like this one. We love collaborating with other partners, but we also host several on our own, which we will get to later. So number one, business advising. This is handled primarily in-house at PCAP, and it's really a great resource for anyone who's kind of starting a business, or maybe you're interested in getting a loan, you don't know how to do that, you just need some advice, you just need someone to talk to about strategy for your business, you need help with your business plan. Say you have an organizational structure that you're just unsure about and you need help thinking through that to expand your business. We have in-house advising at PCAP for both businesses and nonprofits in some cases. All of this is free to you. We're not charging for these services. It's a great value, and we have a big team with a lot of capacity that can help you in-house at PCAP. It's a very simple process to receive this kind of assistance. And if you aren't sure if this is something you're interested in, again, just reach out, and we'll see how we can help you directly. But on the slide here, you can see some of the areas that we can help assist in-house. And I also want to, just before I move on, I do want to include project management as well. So if you have a large project that you're working on and you're just needing some direction as well, we are great to help with actually connecting you to resources outside of PCAP as well. So if that's something you're concerned about, we're available for them as well. So that's in-house at PCAP, that's our team. And we'll move on to specialized business consulting, which is in-house and also provided from some of our trusted consultants that we work with throughout the state of West Virginia. So this is something that's a little bit more complex than your average business advising. So say that you have a large project, you need some pre-development support for a building that you need an analysis on, and you're saying, hey, we have this great building, we're thinking about using it for a welcome center, but we have no idea if it can be used in that manner. You come to us and you say, hey, I need this specialty consulting, and we can work with you to identify a provider that could potentially help you with that project, steer you in the right direction. And in some cases, we have technical assistance dollars available for use. on some of those specialty consulting projects. So if you have energy efficiency costs or needs, and you're considering ways to, save in that sector, that's a great way to use this specialized business consulting. Are you concerned about the strategic direction of your business? You need a detailed strategic plan for your business or organization. These are all questions that you can kind of ask yourself. Hey, am I looking for something that is very complex and involving multiple partners, or maybe you're trying to put some sort of a proposal together for a very large grant proposal. These are all things that we can assess with our specialty business consulting. Again, I want to leave plenty of time after this presentation concludes for questions on this section. So if you have specific questions on if something would qualify for this, that would be a great time to ask us about that. But it's so broad. We range from accounting support to marketing support, budgeting, asset mapping. It really is so broad. So if that's something you might be interested in, again, reach out. Workshops and trainings, we kind of spoke about this earlier, but we have a bunch on our website at PCAP that are actually on demand, so you can go and view those at any time. But we have marketing strategy sessions, financial planning, accounting tips, best practices. We also do peer networking. So if you are wanting to just connect with local and regional partners that are in your industry, and you're just wanting to build that network, that's something that we definitely offer at PCAP. Again, those are all available on our website, and we have some information on those coming up from Liberty. So now that we've kind of talked about the areas of support with PCAP Business Services, you're like, that's great, but how do I get access to this? How do I find you? How does it work? Previously, our processes were slightly different, but we've really streamlined things to make it as easy as possible for people to get assistance with us. So the first thing you would need to do is email us at inquiries@partnercapital.org. And then it would be kind of vetted and sent to our team. You would connect with one of us and fill out an application, which I think is very straightforward and easy. I think it's a simple application process. You could probably do it in, less than an hour. And it's all available again on our website, and you would actually receive an application that is custom to you after you send that inquiries email to us. And then you would get matched with advisors or experts in the field to get the assistance that you need. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And again, consolidating to PCAP Business Support Services allows us to have a quicker, more responsive process than maybe what you've seen with our individual initiatives in the last couple of years. We still are known for, our target markets are still renewable energy, energy efficiency, tourism and recreation, food and farm, loan readiness. But it's, again, so broad. So if you think you need assistance, just reach out and we can determine what you need. I sound like a broken record on that, but it's always best to just reach out. So I've been talking for a while, so I will now throw it over to Louis, my esteemed colleague, and he is going to talk about some of our lending opportunities with PCAP, what that looks like, and how you can get involved. Turn it over to you, Louis.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Hey, everyone. For those of you I've not met, my name is Louis Argento. Been with Partner Community Capital about 3 years. My background prior to that is as an entrepreneur and also in the banking industry in West Virginia for about 18 years. For the prior 3 years, I was working exclusively under the West Virginia Recreational Economies Initiative. My role now is as the liaison between the Business Support Services Group and the Lending Group to kind of optimize our client experience and make sure that any services that they qualify that they receive and that they don't if they don't just get a loan and miss out on the business support services that may be available to them. So that's my role now. But so do work closely with the lenders, do have a fairly extensive lending background. And I want to talk to you a little bit about partner community capital lending. As Kristen mentioned, we are a CDFI, so we are very much mission driven. And these four categories you're looking at here is what we look at primarily for every loan. And I want to start with community impact. So although we are a lender, we're not a bank or a for-profit finance or lending company. So, our primary mission is to benefit the communities and the businesses and nonprofits that we work with. So when we look at a loan, we look at, what is the impact? And we're looking at, underserved communities, rural communities, how many jobs and what quality of jobs are being either created or retained, are essential services for a community involved, local foods, healthcare, other essential services that may be lacking in those communities. Is it an environmentally sustaining business? What we want to ultimately do is help to build wealth in those communities in our state where that wealth has been depleted. And we all know communities in West Virginia where that is the case. So that's where we want to make the most impact. So from community development, community impact, we're going to go to cash flow. Of course, we want to make loans that get repaid. If we make loans that don't get repaid, then we will no longer be a viable lender. So we do look at cash flow, and you may think, well, if I'm a startup business, I don't have cash flow yet. We can work with you. I'll get into this in a second with financial projections and other things to determine where your cash flow will come from and see if it's be sufficient enough to move forward with the loan. Capacity is more the experience and knowledge of the owner group. Have they done this before? Are they experienced? Are we confident that they know what they're doing? Frankly, this also includes credit reports. Have they repaid similar type loans before? That's not necessarily a deal killer if they haven't, but all these things come into play. Lastly, there is collateral. Obviously, most loans are done with collateral. I will say here that as a alternative lender, we will look at loans with less collateral than a bank would require, maybe less equity or down payment than a bank would require. But we roll the whole package together and take a look at these loans before making decisions. Whereas, traditional bank will probably be more all about the numbers. Next slide, please, Kristen. Excuse me. So we're going to start at the top left here. Who are PCAP loan clients? So mostly they're small businesses, but I want to stress that we do work with startups as well as existing businesses. If startups go into a bank for a loan, they will inevitably be told no right off the bat. But we will work with startups. That is kind of our a lot of what Kristen got into with the business support services. That's what we do to help some of these businesses to get started and hopefully remain sustainable. We also work with nonprofits, again, underserved communities. Our lending is focused in West Virginia and North Carolina, mostly in the underserved communities of those two states, but we can do loans in border towns or areas in other states that are close to West Virginia and North Carolina borders. Our loan types, we can make loans up to $1.5 million. So that's a fairly substantial loan in West Virginia small business environment. The number one type of loans that we or any lender does is real estate loans. You guys know what those are. Equipment loans, lots of different types of equipment out there, including vehicles. So it can be construction equipment. It can be like restaurant equipment. It can be medical equipment. There's a lot of different types of equipment out there. So let's just say non-real estate there. Working capital loans, these can include loans for inventory. So we see clients who might be going along great in their business, but maybe they've grown too fast, and all of a sudden they're out of cash. But the future looks good, their projections look good. We're confident that they can repay it, so we can do a working capital loan in those instances. Specialty loan programs. From time to time, there might be federal or state or foundation money geared towards certain types of borrowers or certain types of programs. One specialty loan program we have right now is super neat. It's called the West Virginia Capital Access Program, or West Virginia CAP program. Under this program, we have access to basically cash that we can pledge on behalf of a borrower as a CD. So, and that CD, or certificate of deposit, acts as collateral on the loan. So if let's say a bank has a client who needs $200,000, but the collateral is only enough to cover $100,000. So we can put a CD in for up to 20% of that loan amount. So let's just say if it's $200,000, that'd be $40,000. We could put that CD in that bank to help collateralize that loan. And of course, banks love cash as collateral, and it can go a long way to helping get that loan done that may not have been done otherwise. And that's also what our role in the economy is to get these loans done that otherwise won't happen. Get this capital injected into our underserved communities. Bank participation is another big part of our lending program. We say we don't compete with banks, we work with banks. So we act as subordinate lenders a lot of times on loans. Again, let's say that a client needs $200,000 and a bank, for whatever reason, is only comfortable with lending $100,000. So we can step in to do that other $100,000 if everything lines up. And in that case, we take a subordinate position to the bank, which means the bank's happy because they're in first position on the collateral. In case of default, they get repaid first, and we get whatever is left. So banks love that type of partnership or participation, and we do it regularly. So if you're working with a bank and you're struggling, or you have a client working with a bank and they're struggling to get approved, they're on the fence, we can help get these loans over the fence, guys. And then the next sub bullet there is not bank ready clients. And this is another part of our mission. So there are businesses out there, there are viable businesses that are profitable businesses, but still can't get that bank loan. They still get rejected when they apply for a bank loan. So our role in the economy, one of them, is to take that client, make that loan, work with them, and in 2 or 3 5 years down the road, have them to where they are bankable. And they can then go into a bank. The bank can pay us off, and they can go to their local bank where maybe the interest rate's a little more favorable, and hopefully their business is that much more improved or more sustainable at that time. Lastly, but not leastly, in that column is our micro loans. These are loans from 5,000 up to 50,000. This is a new and exciting program we've got. The credit process is much more streamlined with these loans. It's more of a scoring system. So, so you won't get bogged down in, a 2 or 3 or 4 month loan process. We can get these scored and answered a lot more quickly. Corey is going to share a flyer on those micro loans as a follow-up after this presentation is over. So again, if we have questions, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this. Looking forward to that. And then over on the right, how our loan dollars are spent. This kind of mirrors the last box we talked about. Purchasing real estate, whether it's raw land or a building. Business acquisitions, this is a popular one. You get people who retire, want to sell their business either to their top manager, maybe to their children. So we do those types of loans. Construction loans, renovation loans, equipment loans, refinancing loans, including, high debt or high interest credit card refinancing and traditional loan, working capital, solar energy efficiency projects, and many, many other uses, just loan dependent, situation dependent. Next slide, please. Okay. So we've got all of the types of loans and the process of our underwriting is, it's not like when you go in and buy a car. We don't just pull a credit report and give you a loan. There is a fairly substantial process if you want a loan over $50,000, not just with us, but with any bank or finance company. So we've got tools on our websites to help people who maybe have never been through this process before, and I want to briefly touch on those. These are links, I believe, here, or you can go to our website, which I dropped in the chat, and find these. So the first thing is a potential borrower quiz. Do you think you want a loan, but you're not sure if you qualify or if it's a good idea to even apply? This is a great tool to use to see if you think you want to move forward. It gets a lot of questions answered for you. Um, um, a few things we require with loan underwriting: financial projections, a business plan, resumes on the owners, loan application. So these next few kind of address those items. If, so many people are good at running their business, but they've never done financial projections, understandably. So we have a financial projections template, which is a spreadsheet, easy to use. You plug in the numbers and you get your financial projections. Voila. Same thing with our business plan template. You can use that to create a fairly simple business plan. Certainly, you can come to the table with your own business plan from other sources. Also, same thing with the resume template. There's also a loan application guide, which spells out kind of line item by line item what our loan application looks like, so you're ready for those questions. And lastly, if you need more idea of what the loan process looks like, we've got a wonderful step-by-step video on there, which is hosted by one of our lenders in Eastern North Carolina, Mr. Clem Seifert. That is a fantastic video. Even if you're not applying, if you're applying with other financial companies or with PCAP, it gives you a great idea what to expect for a small business or commercial loan experience. But all that said, we're not going to leave you to yourself to do this. With PCAP Business Support Services, we'll help you through the process. We'll hold your hand. We'll answer your questions as you go to make sure you're loan ready and that your loan package is as optimized as possible. Next slide, please. All right, wanted to include some hard numbers here of some of PCAP's lending accomplishments. Since 2000, we've lent over $100 million to over 500 businesses and nonprofits in West Virginia and North Carolina. 85% of our borrowers are in rural or economically distressed areas. We've helped to create or maintain over 7,000 jobs. And I can't tell you how proud I am and the rest of our team is to work with a company that's putting this type of money to work in our underserved communities. I'm kind of getting chill bumps right now. I hope you guys are too. But so we are not just, pie in the sky talk, we are making loans every day in our underserved communities and looking for more. So, if you're interested in a loan or your clients are, or if you're attending your community meetings, please keep us in mind as an alternative lender. If possible, we will make the loan. So the last thing is my portion here is our contact information. That's my contact information at the top. The bottom is Cedric Green. He's our lender for Southern and Central West Virginia. Does a fantastic job for us. If you're on this call and have questions and want to talk offline, you're probably best just to contact me at this point, and we'll take it from there. So that's it for my portion of PCAP lending. Look forward to any Q&A at the end. I think next we've got Miss Liberty Newberry, part of Business Support Services, to go over some of our upcoming events and programs. Thank you guys for having us today.
Thanks, Louie. And yes, thank you for having us. This has been Wonderful so far. And I was just looking through the chat and noticed a lot of other service providers and folks working for nonprofits. So hopefully this next bit of information will appeal to you, but also to any clients or businesses that you might be working with. We've got a couple of exciting webinars coming up. I say exciting because we're really pushing this narrative that it is exciting and very sexy to get your business finances in order. Yeah, we're excited to talk about these. The first one is coming up on January 29th. It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. Start managing your business finances. In this webinar, we're going to talk about financial basics, charts of accounts, comparing different software options that are out there for getting one's accounting in order, and also go over foundational finance and business terms. We heard through so far from the folks who have spoke about the importance of understanding your cash flow, budgeting, doing financial projections. And then, there's this grant readiness webinar coming up from OEDC on April 9th as well, where they'll be talking about preparing your project for funding. So this type of webinar and these sorts of finance basics can really help people get prepared for things like that, whether you're writing for a grant or planning to apply for a microloan or a loan, or just looking for investment. So we hope people will come out to these. The first one, as I said, is start managing your business finances. We're going to go over some basics. It'll be great for startups, great for folks who have maybe been in business for a while, like Louis was saying, but just haven't really had a chance to dig into this for themselves yet. And then our second one is going to be on March 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. These are both Thursday evenings, I believe. So March 5th, 6 to 8 p.m., financial statements and budgeting basics. And for that one, we're going to be talking about the different financial statements, profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow, what to know, what to look for, why these matter. Again, tying back into seeking funding and really just being able to make strategic decisions about your business. So we'll talk about budgeting setups and using your historical data or your financial projections to generate reports and again, get yourself ready for different funding opportunities. So those are free webinars. We would love to have recreation and tourism businesses attend. Also, if you happen to be working with food or ag related businesses, please let them know about these. We'll be sure that the links are in the chat and they go out afterwards. We also have, I believe, Facebook events set up for both of these as well, if you want to share on Facebook. For folks who attend the first one on January 29th, there will be an opportunity to work with our coaches afterwards for follow-up questions or just really tailored support for folks that attend those with specific questions for your business. And then we also might have some additional coaching and training time with the trainers, the actual trainers themselves who we're working with on these. So lots of opportunities for follow-up support. And again, they're free. So please share with your networks and we would love to have you there. Thanks. I'm going to kick it back to Kristen.
Thanks, Liberty. And we're having some fun here in the chat talking about sharing at some other events that are coming up. I do want to shout out the West Virginia Outdoor Economy Summit that is coming up next month. Again, we are going to be having a session there as well. And I know that it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you haven't already registered for that, do so. In the interest of time, I'm just going to say, hey, this presentation, everything in it is hyperlinked to our website. If you need any more information, I know they're going to be sending it out to everyone. You can also reach out to any of us directly. But I wanted to leave a little bit of time here, just a couple of minutes for questions. I know we're tight on time, but if anybody has any questions, just raise your hand or throw it in the chat and we will answer your question, hopefully. And just go for it.
I have a question, Kristen. And Heidi dropped one in the chat really quick, but I'm curious on like what are some common like capacity gaps that you might see in a community, like in rural communities, like specifically seeking investment, and like how can that community like better prepare or start addressing those maybe before reaching out to partner community capital, or like what are some things you're like, oh, I really wish that community could get up to speed on this because it would really line them up really well to take the full advantage of the programs.
Yeah, I think the biggest part is resource sharing and making sure that we're not reinventing the wheel in these rural communities, because I think a lot of opportunities exist that people are not aware of. And then they do become aware of it, and it's already kind of been presented by someone in that community. So again, reach out to us. We're happy to help with that kind of stuff as well, because we're always out and about in the community. We're hearing about projects. We're hearing about things that are simultaneously going on that might tie into what you need resources for. And our capacity is limited in these small communities. So it's better that we just work together rather than, trying to build more capacity in these small towns that just doesn't exist. So reach out to us. Again, another great reason to reach out to us. I saw Heidi put in the chat, how has the West Virginia REI program changed? Essentially, the REI program will be running somewhat the same under PCAP Business Support Services, but the actual REI program itself will be coming to a close in May officially, and then from that point forward, it will just be under PCAP Business Support Services. And again, the same kind of assistance is available, but as far as third-party technical assistance that some of you may have received from the REI program in the past, all of that has been allocated at this time, so we don't have any funding left under that program. But again, because we're becoming PCAP Business Support Services, we are hopefully going to have more broad pots of funding that we can use across initiatives that are all, again, operating under this one roof. I'm just looking again. I don't see any more questions. I know we're right at time. Any last minute things before we kind of wrap up here? And again, if you want to talk to Louis or I at the summit, we will be there and we can talk for much longer than this. And ciao.
I might want to just say one thing if I can.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heidi. I work with the WVU OEDC, and I know the folks over here at PCAP pretty well from some of my past employment. At any rate, that the REI program that they had hosted was a really awesome program, I will say personally. I know a lot of small businesses that really were focused in the outdoor space in particular, really benefited from that program. So thank you guys for all of the work you guys did. I know that we kept you guys busy with that program, to say the least, here, all of us here in the outdoor space. But I think the one thing to really touch on is, at least for me, is the thing that's a little bit different about PCAP is that touch on how this helps nonprofits and this helps small businesses. You don't see a lot of that across the resource landscape. That most folks kind of tend to focus on one or the other. So again, for the OEDC and for our work here at WVU, I think this is one really strong touch point for what PCAP is doing as far as it's not only helping the folks that are in small businesses, but it also helps the nonprofits that are supporting them. So I know that you guys said that. I just really want to make sure that people heard that, because I think this is where you guys touch into the work of the OEDC, is you're helping both the small businesses and all the nonprofits that are trying to help it. So I can speak from experience that these guys are really great at helping both sides of that. And yeah, just wanted to say that quickly.
Thank you, Heidi. We really appreciate that, because we've been hustling over the last few years. So it's happy to see that we've had some impact. Any other last thoughts before we wrap up? I think we're good. I think we're right at time. Well, thank you so much. And again, thanks for having us, and we will see you in February.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Kristen, Louis, Liberty. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.